Is it working? Will somebody wave at me if it's working? Okay, thank you. Let's chant.
Yes, it's working, Sahadevji. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Ready. Jaya Bolo Sitaram Ki Ananda Me Prabhu Ananda Me Jaya Bolo Sitaram Ki Ananda Me Prabhu Ananda Me 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 Jaya Bolo Hanuman Ki Ananda me Prabhu Ananda me Jaya Bolo Hanuman Ki Ananda me Prabhu Ananda me 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 Jaya Bolo Rama Lakshmana Laki Ananda me Prabhu Ananda me Jaya Bolo Rama Lakshmana Laki Ananda me Prabhu Ananda me 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 Ananda me Jaya Bolo Sitaram Ki Ananda me Prabhu Ananda me Jaya Bolo Sitaram Ki Ananda me Prabhu Ananda me Ananda me Prabhu Ananda me Ananda me Prabhu Ananda me Ananda me Prabhu Ananda
Thank you, Sahadev. Wonderful bhajan.
Om.
Another one of my favorites.
Oh, okay.
Very nice. Can you please do a whatever photo check, sound check, everything okay?
Yes, everything is okay, Swamini ji.
All right, wonderful.
Photo is best ever so far, but I still hear the hum. Is there?
There should only be so hum because I have removed the cord. Do you
When you
still
just
hear it?
when you just touched it, it stopped. Now it started. It's funny.
Let me try to put the cord away from the computer. It was touching it. Is it better now?
Ah, yeah, that's all. That's it.
Ah, okay. Yeah, it should not even. There is something magnetic there, so maybe that's what the whole thing is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. Now, where were we? Verse 65, I think. We just finished. 64, 65, yes. So, where? In the Vārtika, where Yajnavalkya addresses Maitreyi and acknowledges what is possibly his own gender bias, or or just a bias based on some kind of a familiarity, with whom you have been living for many years. So when you live with somebody for many years, you don't, you take them for granted. You see them only in a particular role, in a particular way. You don't see them, as a mumukshu or a student. And so he acknowledges that and he says, Samsarat chet virakta. See, if you are truly, if you have given up the addiction to reproducing the finite infinitely, then you are qualified to receive the infinite from me. Grihana anuttamam amritam. So this incomparable oneness, this incomparable, what's that, the amritatva, which is immortality, you are now, poised to receive. And then he says a few other things. Before the teaching begins in the Vārtika, we will look at that. So moving on to verse 66. Strīnām yadujitam vakyam pratilomanna bhāshase purvavatvanukulam tvam idānīmapi bhāshase. Strīnām yadujitam vakyam pratilomanna bhāshase purvavatvanukulam tvam idānīmapi bhāshase. So, in case anyone who is reading this at any time in the history, especially in the contemporary time of Suresvaracharya's writing, Suresvaracharya wants to rid the psyche of both men and women reading this Vārtika, to look at, and what should I say, suppress or put to rest the tendency to look at Maitreyi as some kind of a renegade or a rebel. It's easy to dismiss her. It's like, oh, she just, wants to compete with her husband. And instead of saying, yes, yes, master, you go and I'll sit and cry, which would have been the regular, usual, what is that, reaction. She instead shows herself to be, demonstrates that she is, very much a recipient of this knowledge, qualified for this knowledge. And so, reading this, people might, instead of lauding her mumukshutva, which is the desire for freedom, desire for this knowledge, in fact, see her as a renegade and a rebel and not take her desire to learn seriously. So, therefore, we have this verse. It's very, very interesting because because and in the he's responding in the Upanishad. If you if you can please open the Upanishad, I'll tell you exactly where he's responding to. He's responding to Priyabata naha are sati priyam bhashase. Priyabata naha sakhi naha sati priyam bhashase. This is where the mantra number 4, Priyabata. So you are speaking beautifully, and so he's Yajnavalkya is giving is expressing his delight that she is so qualified for this knowledge. And Suresvaracharya takes it a step further to seal Maitreyi's candidacy for immortality. For as long as this vārtika stands, we will not see Maitreyi as some kind of an outlier, that like that women are not really interested in this knowledge or should not be, but then Maitreyi is somebody unique or special or what have you. So he wants to preempt that, and that's why he has Yajnavalkya in his imagination. Yajnavalkya is saying this, is articulating this verse, so that Maitreyi is seen in her own right as someone who is qualified for this knowledge. And because she is qualified for this knowledge, women are also qualified for this knowledge. So this is what he wants to bring forth. Strinam yaduchitam vakyam. So, how women should speak in that time, not now, we are talking of in that time. How women should speak, yad uchitam, whatever is appropriate for women to speak, pratilomam na bhashase, in expressing your desire. Because there was all these rules about how women should speak, and we'll see a few of them. They are from the contemporary standpoint, they are very funny. They strike one as funny, but that was the that was the custom of those days. And so how you are, your speech is in keeping with how women should speak. You have not transgressed any kind of rules of the society by desiring this knowledge. Pratilomam means transgression or viparita. Viparita means opposite to what is customary. So you have not transgressed any kind of rules prevalent in the contemporary society about women's conduct, women's speech, women's desire in articulating this desire for this knowledge. So this is what the first line means. Strinam yad uchitam vakyam. The speech, vakyam here should not be sentence, it should be speech. So it should be taken as speech. So the speech that is appropriate, yad uchitam, that which is seen by others in the society as appropriate, even though we are only two of us here, that speech which is seen as appropriate for women, pratilomam na bhashase. You are not transcending or transgressing that. You are not encroaching upon the world of men who are customarily seen as mumukshus, go-getters of moksha, and then, and they are leaving and going, and, so you are not competing, your words are not in transgression of anything that women should appropriately do. So he assures her that her desire is very valid in her own right, which is a very beautiful, very, very beautiful verse. Then, purvavatva anukulam. Purvavat anukulam. Anukulam means in keeping with whatever is appropriate, and in keeping with me. In keeping with whatever is appropriate for women to speak, and in keeping with my wishes. Meaning, we have always been on the same page, Maitreyi. So, we have always been, Purvavati, even before, you were the same. We have always been enjoying a very harmonious interaction, and you have always been anukulam. You have been conducting yourself in keeping with my desires. And then tvam, you, idanimapi bhashase, even now what you are expressing, the desire for this knowledge, is in keeping with my wishes. In fact, this is the highest wish I would have for you. I would want you to have this knowledge. I want you to, be able to meditate on the same thing that I'm meditating upon, I'm contemplating upon. And so, this desire of yours is not outside my desire for you. He assures her, and in so doing, he puts to rest all other contentions that might arise, either in the scholastic tradition, through the what is that called, the purva pakshis, the objectors, the so many objectors from various traditions and from various matas, recensions, etc., where they may say this is so incongruous. A woman is pursuing this knowledge. Where have this is not okay. And so this verse puts to rest all that and upholds the Upanishad just as it is. And here the the author points out, because then we might be curious that how did women speak in those times. And so the author points out here another what is that, another commentary, Shastra Prakashika, which quotes the another smriti means man-made rules, literally. Okay, yeah, man-made rules about how the society should function and live. Manusmriti, man use smriti. That's why the word manusmriti, the first three letters are man. Okay, it's a Manu was a highly Manu was a Vedantin. Very, I mean, when he talks Vedanta, it is just amazing. Really, I mean, Manu was a very highly evolved rishi and says some wonderful things about the society and all. But in his time, the status of women changed even from how it was during perhaps in the Upanishads. So his interpretation of how women should live is very, very strict and in keeping with those times. So he says basically, and I'm just translating what it is. So they should always be like sadhus, not desiring anything. And even if they desire, they should not express the desire. They should serve the husband, as though he is a god. And then, they should not, they should never say anything unpleasant. And if they want to say something unpleasant, they should just keep quiet, and they are better seen than heard. So all these rules were there. This is just to give a flavor of how Maitreyi, despite the rules of the time, has flourished in her desire and has expressed the desire in a very beautiful way to the husband, and has requested this knowledge. And so no wonder he is praising her, because she has crossed a lot of barriers to be able to express this want. So, moving on, verse 67, again continuing to praise her, Yajnavalkya says, Moksham yantam naram sarve munchati sahaja api atibhaktitaya mam tvam mokshepi na jihasasi. Moksham yantam naram sarve munchati sahaja api atibhaktitaya mam tvam mokshepi na jihasasi. Moksham yantam naram sarve janaha sahaja munchanti. This is the Anvaya, this is the prose form of this verse. So, Moksham yantam means the one who is abhimukha, set out for moksha. The one who declares, the man who declares that, I really want moksha. man or person, but here it Nara means man, because in those days men only used to make this declaration before Maitreyi came along. So, so the man who declares, I am all for moksha, I'm going to drop out from the society, I'm not going to earn. Oh my God, OMG, right? And then I'm not going to take care of my parents. Double OMG. I'm going to abandon all my responsibilities. Triple OMG. And if there are wife and children involved, I'm going to, say bye bye to them. Quadruple OMG moment. And so, therefore, what? So sarve janaha, all the people eschew the company of the one who says I'm off for moksha. I'm sure that it is the same in your lives also, or it will be, when you start getting serious about this knowledge. First, people will say, oh, okay, because everybody nowadays, it will not cause a stir because everybody is on Zoom anyway. So if you are also on Zoom twice a day, nothing, nothing to talk about. Yeah, she's just doing something. Everybody is on Zoom. But then you change, you start becoming more quiet, and then you just let everybody win all the arguments. You're not participating in conflict, and you're just, you're transforming internally. And then, and then let's say in the pre-corona days, you start going to the ashram more and more, and you start attending one satsang, two satsangs, three satsangs, four satsangs, how many satsangs, and then you start attending this, and then there is a 10-day course, you take that, and then there is a 1-month course, and then you take that, and then there is a 3-year course, and then all hell breaks loose. you know your what is that, potluck invitations drop off. Yeah, potluck invitations drop off. And you just wonder, well, where is everybody? What happened? I thought I had built up a nice range of friends and family and everything, and everybody is polite, nobody says anything. But this is not something you can put on your resume. I have self knowledge, that's the first thing on your resume, on your CV. And the prospective employer, self-knowledge. Ye kya hai? What is this? No, this you study and everything. Okay. Don't call us. We'll call you. And the call never comes. So this is not something you can put on your resume. This is not something anybody will understand other than other mumukshus. Other crazy people like yourselves who are also online will appreciate this. Well, that's why it is nice. That's why, Chitra always says keep your video on so that you can see other people also totally crazy, has nothing else to do at 8 o'clock at night or whatever time it is wherever you are, and then you're plugging into this. And so then you get moral support, which is the whole idea of satsang. So it's not, these are the names are not just imaginary. There are people there, And so moksham yantam naram, and also why people get afraid of anybody going for moksha seriously, because it invokes the same desire in oneself that one is not ready to confront. That's why the fear. Otherwise, somebody is going for moksha, you should clap. If you are not interested, you should say, okay, no problem, you have fun. I'll send you a care package. Have fun, go to the ashram, stay there. But the one is not able to do that. Why? Because there is a fear. There is a latent fear that, this person is going and has stirred in me something that I can neither address, nor confront, nor ignore. This is the power of moksha. One is hardwired for moksha. I told you right in the beginning in the first class itself. One is hardwired for moksha, and so the stirrings of this desire to be free, not free, from relationships. free while relating. Freedom in relationship, not from relationship. Free while relating, free while doing anything. This sense of constriction, this sense of entanglement, if I do this, they will do this, if they do this, then I'll have to do this, and this being caught as though in this pernicious cycle of action, reaction, one is sick of, everyone is sick of. But kaschit dhiraha, but everybody is swimming downstream only because it's convenient, and also because there is safety in numbers. One tells oneself as though, so what if I am self-ignorant? Other people are also self-ignorant. Look at the teeming masses on the subway, on the trains, on the buses, on the planes. Everybody is self-ignorant. Thank God they are not pursuing Vedanta. So I also need not pursue Vedanta. I'm okay, you know. And so then therefore what? So there is safety in numbers, even though the majority may be wrong. Majority might be quite wrong. Because there was a time in the history of the universe where the majority thought that the earth was as flat as a chapati. The earth was flat. And that's why they would not travel, because you didn't know where the end was, and you would just fall off and then just be somewhere in space. They didn't know about gravity. They didn't know about this, that the earth was round. Ptolemy was one of the first scientist, philosopher who said, the earth is round. But nobody believed him. In fact, I think his teaching was seen as a heresy, contradictory to the dominant religion, Christianity at that time, and he was burnt at stake. This is what they did to people who disagreed in those days. But just because, he disagreed didn't make him, just because he was in the minority, that didn't make him wrong. He was right. And later on, several centuries later, Galileo, confirmed this. And by that time, people were a little more open, thank God. So therefore, moksha is a pursuit that puts people off. Why? Because they are not ready to take this on. And if you are ready for moksha seriously, and if you make this a serious pursuit, the people around you start to get uncomfortable. And same thing is true, especially of young men and women, unmarried and whatnots, because the parents see, especially Indian parents, see their offspring as an extension of themselves. And then what happens is that there are all these wishes and desires. So if the neighbor's son or daughter becomes a sadhu, then you are very happy. You say, oh my God, how you achieved this at such a young age. Come to my house, I'll do pada puja for you. I'll give you bhiksha, I'll give you dakshina. But if your own son or daughter says this, the parent generally says, get out of this house. What is wrong with you? Double standards, but that's how it is. And that's why I suppose in the bhashya, I forget to which, I think Kathopanishad bhashya somewhere, I may be wrong, but some bhashya, I think Kathopanishad bhashya, Adi Shankara says, specifies that Ishtaputra darshanam. And I always wondered, Ishtaputra darshanam means what? Ishtaputra means the favorite son, I thought. First I thought Ishtaputra I translated as, looking at your favorite son. Taittiriya Upanishad Bhashya, where he talks about Moda, Pramoda, all these things, Priya, Moda and Pramoda. The various stages of happiness that is there in the human mind. So priya means, something that you love. Some ishtavastu darshanena. So for example, ishtaputra darshanam, viewing the beloved son. I always wondered, viewing meaning that other sons are not beloved or what? How can that be? In a parent's heart, in the heart of the parent, all children are beloved. So the beloved, viewing the beloved child means what? Then I understood, And having stayed at the ashram for so many years and seeing various shades of parents who used to come to visit and all that, then I could understand. Because who wants to see this brahmachari in white clothes and just the white clothes that have become grey due to wearing the same thing and washing the same things. It is grey. It's almost like a Zen uniform. No, because they wear light grey. In fact, it is almost become like a Zen uniform. And so this fellow carrying one jhola, one kind of a bag, in his hand with some bhaimi. Bhaimi is some Sanskrit grammar commentary, okay? He's got bhaimi and Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi, and then he's going to greet his parents, and the parents have come. Mother has made some nice laddus and everything, for the whole ashram. Father is, of course, more strict. And, this is all what I have seen. And they come, and the father, even the little bit of anticipation he had in seeing the son is all gone after this fellow emerges. Whereas the other child at home, the daughter, is highly successful. Doctor, engineer, earning well, well settled, well married. So, in comparison, this fellow seems like a loser from the standpoint of the parents. And if one's own parents are like that, imagine the society at large. And Suresvara also must have had the same experience in his life. And so, summing that up, he makes Yajnavalkya say, Mokshamyantam naram sarve munchanti. Munchanti means, they get moksha, all the people get moksha from this person who is bound for moksha. you know. They get moksha from this person. They don't say anything loudly, but they slowly kind of wash the hands off, they back off. It's just like these days, if you go stand close to somebody without a mask and say, hello, what do? What does the other person do? They immediately back off. Corona, yeah. So like this, next to corona is the desire for moksha. Equally dangerous, just maybe less dangerous because it's not as catching as we have seen. Few and far between people come and people do this. So, moksham yantam, the one who is, mokshabhimukham naram, so the one who is poised for moksha, the one who has declared, I want nothing else except this freedom, all the people abandon. But you, O Maitreyi, ati bhakti taya mam, you have not abandoned me. Because of your love, your loving devotion for me is ensuring that you will follow me even in moksha, O darling Maitreyi. Ati bhakti taya tvam mam mokshepi na jihasasi. Jihasasi means you are not going to leave. You are not going to leave me. To abandon. You are not abandoning me even when I am declaring this ultimate, thing. Even when I wanted to abandon you and I told that I am going on this and I am going to divide the property and I want to put an end to this relationship. You did not do this. You did not abandon me. And this is your greatness. This is your, I see this as a culmination of your love and devotion for me, O Maitreyi. Very beautiful. So, so he praises her, and then and then he acknowledges her role in his life, that perhaps because of this bhakti, because of your love and your devotion, I'm poised to do this because I have your companionship here. I'm not alone. And even though I was perfectly ready to go at it alone, what a joy to see you being my, wayfarer, charting this journey with me. So, next one. विभागमसहन्तीव मदति स्नेहकारणात् मुक्तावनुयासि त्वं मदैकात्म्यत् madaikatmya paripsaya muktavayu muktavanuya sorry muktava muktavanuya that's because it should be anuyiyasasi. So my mind wants to say anuyiyasasi, but it is not. He has taken some poetic license here, so I'm stumbling on the words because I'm reading what is in my head, the grammar that's in my head rather than what's on the paper. Muktava Muktavanuyiyasitvam madaikatmya paripsaya. So vibhagam asahanti iva. So asahanti, you who is intolerant of what? Vibhagam, separation, division. From what? From me, of course. Vibhagam asahanti iva. As though you cannot, you are intolerant of separation. And also mad atisneha karanat. Why are you intolerant of separation? Because of being very much in love with me. Very much in love with me. Because of being very much in love with me, and because of your caring and love for me is so great that you cannot be separated from me even for a second. Muktau, in moksha, in the matter of moksha, then it should be anuyiyasasi. You wish to follow me, but then there is some kind of a exception, some kind of a Paninian or some exception, some what is that, Unadi Sutra or something, where there is, you can get away by dropping one of the anuyiya sasi, that another, that sa, that sakara lopa is there, so it should have been anuyiya sasi, but then for the sake of the meter and for poetic license, it has been shortened to anuyiyasi. So anuyiyasi means you wish to follow me, and even in the only pursuit which is what, which has to be followed by oneself alone, where there is no companionship expected and neither is it possible. Just like you are born alone and you die alone, and similarly you go for moksha alone. But here you are not willing to do that, you are not willing to give me up, even though I have chosen this solitary pursuit of nididhyasanam, contemplating on the self. You have made that into a pursuit of what is that? You have made that into this beautiful oneness between us. Mad ekatmya paripsaya. Paripsaya means due to the desire. Mad ekatmyam, due to the desire of being one with me. Beautiful. So our union has been as a husband and wife for so many years, and now you desire to be one with me. And who is this me? Who is this me now? Atma. Brahman. He is not talking as I himself. Here, Mada Ekatmya Paripsaya, you want to be totally one with me. And this oneness is what? Who is this me? This me is that self that you are in search of. And that self that I want to assimilate deeper, that I know and I want to assimilate deeper. So that self which I am, the I that has sort of disidentified with this, from this body mind sense complex, and has identified with the Parabrahma, with Ishvara, with Atma, and that you want to be one with that. And when you want to be one with that, you are indeed one with me in the highest possible way, in a way that we are yet to explore. And so he praises her very, very much for that. Muktau anuyiyasasi tvam mad ekatmya paripsaya. Out of the desire to continue to be one with me, you want to follow me in moksha. And then what? You have transformed the I. The one who is following and the one who wants to reach me is the one and the same I that transcends the body, the mind, and the and the senses. The I that is the cause of that I which is revealed as the cause of the universe. Isha vasyam idam sarvam, that which pervades the entire universe, out of which everything has come, unto which everything resolves, by which everything is sustained. That is the I which the Upanishads reveal as the truth of yourself. And so, in desiring moksha, you are becoming one with me in the highest and the only possible way, because the I in you and the I in me is the same I which is revealed by the Upanishads. And so, in other words, Maitreyi, we are closer than ever before. And if everybody thought, and if we ourselves thought that we have had such a wonderful married life, we are closer than ever before. That was nothing. Literally, that was nothing. Because that married life depended upon mental harmony, and some kind of a, similarity in thinking, similarity in outlook, and being wonderful, anticipating each other's wishes. And so that was a different kind of an intimacy. But here, this intimacy transcends speech. This intimacy transcends the mind. Of course, it transcends the body. And so, therefore, what? This is the only kind of thing that there is. This is this kind of a sweetness in our marriage, because of this oneness of pursuing and being one with that same I, is unheard of in any marriage. And we have this because of your desire for this moksha. Then he goes further in the next verse. He compares her to goddess Uma and Parvati, and then says that she has even transcended Uma's desire for oneness with Lord Shiva. Atisneha ma dehardham shulinashrita. Atisneha ma dehardham shulinashrita. Tvantu sarvatmanatmanam kritsnam mam maptumicchasi. Tvantu sarvatmanatmanam kritsnam mam maptumicchasi. Beautiful verse. Atisnehat apakrishta uma. Atisneha apakrishta uma. Atisnehat. Apakrishta, hijacked, kidnapped, abducted. So, abducted by what? Atisneha, great love. A tremendous love. Carried away, hijacked by a tremendous love. Uma, what happened to Uma? Uma went and occupied and melded with Shiva's left side of Shiva's body. This is Ardhanarishvara. This is a beautiful, in the tradition, where we have Shiva and Shakti in one icon, Ardhanarishvara. Left side is feminine, right side is masculine. And we see this beautifully, where Shiva and Shakti are one, not just married, standing side by side. That was not enough for Uma. She wanted to literally be one. And what did she do? Because abducted by this great love of hers, and because she is after all Shakti, so she can be wherever she wants. And so she occupied half of the body of the Lord and said, I am here to stay. I am one with you. Look, everyone, look at me. And praising this union, Kalidasa, Kalidasa has composed a wonderful verse, and he says, what is that? Vagartha viva sampriktau, vagartha pratipattaye, jagatah pitarau vande, Parvati Parameshwarau. He offers an invocation to Parvati and Parameshwara, who are what? Jagatah Pitarau. So they are the mother and the father of the universe. Mata cha, pita cha, pitarau. So Jagatah Pitarau Vande. I salute the parents of the universe. Who are they? Parvati and Parameshwara. And what are they like? They are like a word and its meaning. Samprikta, joined. Just like you cannot separate a word from its meaning, similarly, you cannot separate Parvati and Parameshwara. Amazing, really amazing, wonderful verse. And so, here he says that, ati sneha apakrishta uma apakrishta, drawn by, hijacked by, carried away by this, tremendous love for the Lord, Shulina, for whom Shulinam. So Shulinam means the one who is the wielder of the trident, Trishula. The trident represents, Tapatraya, so many things it represents. The three forms of afflictions from, from the Lord, from my surroundings, and from within me. And then Trikala. Trikala means the three, what is that? The three periods of time, past, present, and future. The one who wields, who has power over the time. And then also the three bodies, Sukshma, Sthula, and Karana Shariram, all these things, the trident. I was going to call it tripod, but that's wrong. So the trident represents, the all these three things metaphorically. And so the Shulin means the one who is holding the trident, the wielder of the trident. So she occupied, magically, using her powers, out of great love for her for Lord Shiva, she occupied half of his body, unable to bear the separation. But you, my beloved Maitreyi, have crossed over her. Uma is nothing in front of you. Why? Tvam tu, whereas you, sarvatmana, atmanam kritsnam mam aptum ichhasi. You're not just satisfied with, occupying half of my body. You want the whole of me, who is what? Sarvatma. You want the whole of me, that is the cause of the universe. You want to become one with the whole, which I have, understood, which I know, and which I want to abide deeper into. And so you have, Uma cannot hold, Goddess Uma cannot even hold a candle in front of you, because you have left her far behind. Your love for me, the Atma, is so great that you will not stop at anything except to get me fully. You're not enough. This half business is not enough for you, because you want the whole, you want Purnam. What a beautiful, salutation that he offers to his wife. It is just very, very nice. Let's see if we have looked at all the words. Yeah, Sarvatmana, Sarvatmana means, in the form of, Itham Bhute Tritiya it is, in the form of Sarvatma, in the form of gaining the whole, the wholeness, which is Sarvatma, that oneness. Kritsnam, completely, mam aptum ichhasi. You want to gain the whole of me by securing, the Atma. Very beautiful. And then he, pleased with her dedication to this knowledge, and having ascertained that she is indeed a fitting candidate for this teaching, he then says, I am going to now teach you. Yata evamatastubhyam vakshyamyamrita sadhanam. Yata evamatastubhyam vakshyamyamrita sadhanam. Nididhyasasva chetoto vyachakshanasya tanmama. Nididhyasasva chetoto vyachakshanasya cha tanmama. Yataha means yasmat karanat. Because of which reason? What reason? We have already seen the reason. Because of her ability to be able to grasp this knowledge, because of her candidacy, etc. Tubhyam vyachakshami. I'm about to give this knowledge to you. I'm about to Vyachakshami means I'm about to unfold it to you until you understand. Until you understand. I'm about to unfold it to you until you understand this, until you see this, and then what? What am I going to tell you? Amrita sadhanam, this knowledge, which is the means for which is the only means for immortality. I'm going to unfold you this knowledge, which is the only means for immortality. You cannot get this any other way. As we saw, moksha is not a product. You cannot do moksha. You cannot intuit moksha. You cannot, get moksha by sitting next to a person who already has moksha. You cannot catch it. So this way, it has to be only imparted through a thorough pedagogy, and I'm going to give this to you in full, he says. And then what? Nididhyasasvacha. And then what do I want you to do? Your homework is to sit and, nischayena dhyayasva, nididhyasasva. So you please sit with this knowledge, because the knowledge doesn't take, and a word on nididhyasana here, the knowledge doesn't take a lot of time. We'll be seeing this nididhyasana, the word will come again, but for now, the knowledge doesn't take a lot of time. Why? Because if there is something to see, and if the eyes are open, the sight absolutely takes place. Correct? How can it not? It has to take place. If there is something to hear, and the mind is there, and the ears are present, you will hear that. You will definitely hear that. If there is something to see, you will see that. If there is something to hear, you will hear that. And so that means what? Knowledge happens. You don't manufacture knowledge. So even though we say in the mind the knowledge happens, that has to be taken literally. The knowledge that this is the knowledge that doesn't happen by the mind, it happens in the mind. The mind is not an agent of this knowledge. We have seen this before, in detail. The mind is not producing this knowledge. And so that being the case, it doesn't take time to know that you are the whole, that you are not this body, not this mind. Can be said in one sentence, tattvamasi. Aham brahmasmi, sarvam khalvidam brahma, satyam jnanam anantam brahma. These are the sentences that in one sentence the whole vision of Vedanta is given. And in verse form, in the Vedanta Dindima, the author says very nicely, Ardha, Jagan Mithya, Jiva Brahma, Jagan Mithya. So, Jiveshvarayoho Aikyam. So the oneness between Jiva and Ishvara, he says, Ardha Shlokena Pravakshyami, in half a pada, in half a shloka I have said, that which is unfolded by voluminous granthas, Ardha Shlokena Pravakshyami, Yaduktam Grantha Kotibhihi, which is talked about in so many voluminous manuscripts. I am just telling you in one sentence. Jiva is Brahman, Jiva is Ishvara, Jagat is Mithya. Jagat has a conditional reality at best. So then what now? So now this, so nididhyasasva means, so then what is he asking her to do? If he is giving the knowledge, then the knowledge should not have any homework, should not leave anything to be desired. It should be vyachakshami. I will give it to you in full. So other than sit and listen, why does she need to do anything else? That is because, the knowledge the knowledge takes place. No wonder. That's not an issue. You go to the teacher and the ignorance is dismissed. Knowledge takes place. Knowledge happens because it's already there. It's already you. So the ignorance is removed. That should be the end of the story. And somebody had asked me, Uttama Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, Adhama Adhikari, what are the differences? Somebody asked me in email. And, So, Uttama Adhikari, Adhama Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari. So, there is Adhikari Bheda. Adhikari Bheda means that there is difference in the nature of the candidacy. There are certain, subtle differences in the nature of one's candidacy. So generally what we find in the Upanishad, Uddalaka says Tattvamasi and teaches 9 times, 9 examples he gives, and then Shvetaketu says, I'm done, I have understood. And then, Maitreyi is taught by Yajnavalkya, he gives 3-4 examples, and then she also says, okay, thank you, I've understood. Nachiketa is taught by Lord Yama, and he says, oh, I'm done, great. I have understood. This is what is called Uttama Adhikari. And how are the Adhikaris measured? The less the amount of raga dveshas, the more the Adhikaritvam. The more the say you have over the raga dveshas, and the more the antahkarana is free, the greater the Adhikaritvam. So these are Uttama Adhikaris. We find them where? Only in the pages of the Upanishad, or perhaps in the lives of great saints like Pujya Swamiji. And then on the other hand of the continuum, on the other side of the continuum, we have what is called Adhama Adhikarinaha. Adhama means, even if you tell, they don't understand. So Upanishad is the best kept secret, because in spite of teaching, it is not understood. The Upanishad also gives an example of the Adhama Adhikari, where in the Kena Upanishad, the teacher painstakingly unfolds the entire Upanishad. After that, what happens? The teacher painstakingly unfolds the whole Upanishad, and then after that, hand is raised. In the ancient Zoom class, okay, the hand is raised. What? The teacher gets very excited when there are questions. Oh, that means they have been thinking about it. That means they are engaging with the subject matter. Yes, please tell. Upanishadambho bruhi. And what is this fellow's request? Oh, revered sir, please teach me the Upanishad. This is after the whole Upanishad has been taught. And we have to, this is how we learn to teach, because, we see that teacher's response. And the teacher simply says, Ukta te Upanishad. Oh young fellow, I have already taught the Upanishad. Brahmim vāvate Upanishadam vakshyamaha. So now we will teach you something else. We will teach you about Brahman. He doesn't make the person feel bad, because it's not anyone's fault that they are not a adhikari, or they have yet to gain the adhikaritvam. It's not their fault, because the ragadveshas are there. Yes, sarvesham buddhau ragadveshau, upasthitau. So in every head there are raga and dveshas, and in some head there are more ragas and dveshas, I suppose. And so you cannot blame them. But yes, the person can be taught how to manage them. That person has not yet learnt how to manage them. So the teacher's compassion you see here. You see the greatest compassion of the teacher, and the teacher does not, interfere in trying to say, come on, you need to shore up on your adhikaritvam. Come on, do some what is that, what do you do to in the gym, to get the biceps and the triceps, these lifts and all these things. So do this, do this, do that. No, the teacher is very relaxed, because the teacher has complete faith in the Shastra, and the teacher knows Acharyavan Purusho Veda. This person will get it. If not in this life, next life, he or she will definitely get it. So the teacher is not all in a flurry trying to make the student ready. So this is what is called Adhama Adhikari. Even after teaching, does not understand. And somewhere in the middle, that puts all the masses, everybody who is studying Vedanta currently can think of oneself as a Madhyama Adhikari. not the adhikari made up of Upanishads, where they can rattle off everything after having been taught once and has understood everything and does not need anything other than what is called Shravanam. We'll be seeing that. Other than Shravanam, listening to the teachings. And then what? And then then we have and these and the rest of the people are not adhama adhikaris either. They are not so far gone that they cannot be taught. So madhyama adhikaris means the shravanam gives the knowledge, but this knowledge is inhibited by doubts, vagueness, or errors. A knowledge that is there, that shines occasionally through the eclipsing of various doubts, errors, and what is called viparita bhavana. Viparita bhavana means I know I am Brahman, but I get angry. I know I am Brahman, but I want to smack somebody in the face. I know I am Brahman, but I want to do this. I know I am Brahman, but I am not behaving like Brahman. I am still entangled in all these things. People can still get the better of my moods. I'm still afflicted by sorrow. I'm still afflicted by various emotions. I come under their spell. This is where nididhyasanam comes into the picture. Nididhyasanam means, regurgitating like a cow in the pasture, which has 4 stomachs. First it eats up all the grass, then it goes and sits under a tree, brings it all up and chews it properly, assimilates this and sends it back into the stomach. This is what has to be done with the words of the Shastra. The words of the Shastra have to be chewed, because in the beginning everyone is like a cow, very quickly wanting to gain the knowledge. Eat, 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 eat. Oh, Kathopanishad, next Kenopanishad, next Ishavasya Upanishad, next Taittiriya Upanishad, fir kya? Oh, I want to study Advaita Makaranda, I want to study this, because the eager mumukshu. But there is some assimilation lacking because of the preponderance of the ragadveshas in the head. And so therefore, he says, I'll teach you, but then go to the forest. That's why I'm going to the forest. I'm going to bring up, like the cow, all the words, all the mahavakyas, and then chew on it properly. So you cannot contemplate on something you don't know. And therefore, and you need not contemplate on what you already know. So this contemplation is a funny thing. It is to relieve these, habitual patterns and orientations. So it is to relieve that. You bring back the words of the Upanishad that you have studied, of the Shastra that you have intimately studied, and then you bring it back, and then what? You see the meaning repeatedly until it becomes you. You become the meaning. That is what is called nididhyasana. So what does he say here? Yataha yasmat karanat. Yataha means because you are so prepared. Evam, in this manner you have shown me that you are so prepared for this knowledge. Tubhyam, unto you, bakshyami, I'm going to tell, amrita sadhanam, I'm going to give you that knowledge which is a means for immortality, which is a means to know that you are whole and you are unafflicted and not subject to death, unafflicted by any emotions or situations. Nididhyasasva cha, and I want you to, pay close attention to this, and then I want you to contemplate on this. Itaha, itaha means whatever you have studied here. Ataha, thereafter, I want you to, therefore, I want you to contemplate. Thereafter, this teaching, I want you to contemplate. What? Vyachakshanasya tat mama. Mama va vyachakshanasya. So, that whatever I have expounded, that you need to contemplate upon very, very closely, so that you can gain this knowledge just like I have gained this knowledge. And then he is going to say what is needed for this knowledge. He is going to talk about vairagya, etc. And then now we'll go back to the text. So if you can come back to the text, let us look at mantra number 5. and we'll just read it today and then we'll take it up in the next class. स होवाच न वा अरे पत्युः कामाय पतिः प्रियो भवति आत्मनस्तु कामाय पतिः प्रियो भवति न वा अरे जायायै कामाय जाया प्रिया भवति आत्मनस्तु कामाय जाया प्रिया भवति न वा अरे पुत्राणां कामाय पुत्राः प्रिया भवन्ति आत्मनस्तु कामाय पुत्राः प्रिया भवन्ति न वा अरे वित्तस्य कामाय वित्तं प्रियं भवति आत्मनस्तु कामाय वित्तं प्रियं भवति न वा अरे ब्रह्मणः कामाय ब्रह्म प्रियं भवति आत्मनस्तु कामाय ब्रह्म प्रियं भवति न वा अरे क्षत्रस्य कामाय क्षत्रं प्रियं भवति आत्मनस्तु कामाय क्षत्रं प्रियं भवति न वा अरे लोकानां कामाय लोकाः प्रिया भवन्ति आत्मनस्तु कामाय लोकाः प्रिया भवन्ति न वा अरे देवानां कामाय देवाः प्रिया भवन्ति आत्मनस्तु कामाय देवाः प्रिया भवन्ति न वा अरे भूतानां कामाय भूतानि प्रियाणि भवन्ति आत्मनस्तु कामाय भूतानि प्रियाणि भवन्ति न वा अरे सर्वस्य कामाय सर्वं प्रियं भवति आत्मनस्तु कामाय सर्वं प्रियं भवति. This was one sentence, okay? Yeah. So this is the Sanskrit one sentence, and what a sentence. We will look at that, later, and then the later is actually 1.5 hours later than the regular class. Am I right? Yeah. So this is what it is. So today we will be meeting at Eastern time 9:30. So you can attend the homa, and if you're not near the ashram, you can do your prayers or whatever it is. And then if you're in the east coast, you can get to sleep a little more. West coast, you get to sleep a little more. Yeah. What is this question? Yeah. Does it not mean attachment in verse 68? 68. Where is 68? I will look and tell you. अतिस्नेह विभागम विभागम अतिस्नेह कारणात्. Atisneha, I generally don't use the word attachment, and also it is not correct. I generally don't use the word attachment because in matters of the atma is not attached to anything. So you can only be detached if you are attached. You are not attached to anything. The atma, is not attached to anything. Okay. So now so atisneha means great love. That is how it should be there. So the attachment, she is not attached, because otherwise she was attached, she would have started crying the moment he said attachment means there is a subjectivity. She would have started crying, don't go, what have I done wrong, why are you leaving me? She doesn't do any of that. So she has a healthy love and respect and devotion for him, and he has the same for her. And so in all ways, it's a very functional and highest ideal of marriage that is put forth. In fact, everybody's marriage should be just like this. Amazing, very, very nice. Okay, yeah. So Meenal, have answered your the adhikari bheda also. I've taken it up because it's an important one and everybody can get that. Okay. All the best. Did we say the closing prayer?
No,
Closing
not there.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Thank you, Swamini ji.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Om.